fair bit of rain over the last day or two, and obviously we've been keeping an eye on those catfish in those muddy wallows that were left. And Kathy in New Durham would like to know, are they going to return to the waterholes they left from, or they're going to stay where they've moved to? Well, Kathy, I think for the moment, I don't think there's enough water really to get them to start moving out of the waterholes they're in at the moment. As I said, it was only 30 or so millimeters, and though that makes a big difference to the plants and whatnot, that isn't the hugest amount of rain that's going to fill up the waterholes enough for catfish to move. So I think for the moment they're going to stay put exactly where they are. Experiencing, I definitely think it's got colder as the mornings progress. Chandra agrees, and I'm really regretting not having my mitts with me now. Oh, it's gonna roll. Why are you doing it right above us? There's a lilac-breasted roller doing its rolling dance, but he's just keeping us out of shot. Wait, I'm trying to get into the spot. And now he's... Oh, let's try and move. Where's he gone again now? Oh, coming roller. Oh, he's coming back over our heads. Oh, no, he's being a very, very difficult roller. So, what we were trying to show you there, I'm trying to see. Oh, he's coming back. And he's right outside, alongside us. But now he's just flying. He's not. There we go. There we go. That behavior we just saw there is how rollers get their name. And he's trying to impress the ladies, so let's go have a look. There seems to be quite a few of them over there. They're probably all competing. So this is rolling season now. So they fly right up into the air and they drop, and as they drop, they sort of roll like that. And all the roller species, oh yeah, another one. So I'm going to try to see, there's two over there, a couple, and then I think there's a competing male over behind us. And I think, unfortunately, we just couldn't get in the right spot to get that display. Oh, incoming competition. Oh no, shouting. Well, there's two there and two just behind us. Oh, off he goes. Flying a bit now, flying low. Keep watching. And we've got two behind us. They're going to give me a sore neck, these rollers. Here we go, top of the marula. For a beautiful bird, they have not the nicest voices. So we got these ones going, and that one's going. Looks like they've bumped into other rollers over there and having a huge fight. We can just hear it from where we are. Well, it looks like we missed the dance and display, but we will probably see it again in the next couple of days, and I will definitely keep a sharp eye out for it. nice and fun, even though... No, don't dare do it. So false alarm, starling, flying across the back. I thought, no man, as we drive away, the rollers are going to start their nonsense again. It doesn't look like much is happening on the Duma side this morning, and hopefully it'll definitely heat up during the evening. So I'm gonna go a little bit faster for a bit, and we're gonna try and get across and see if there's anything happening on the Arathusa side. And as far as we know, the mechanics are still really hard at work on Wendy, so hopefully there'll be 2 vehicles up by this evening, but it doesn't look hopeful for the rest of the morning. Just a reminder, if any of you guys are new, we're on a live African safari, and you are seeing everything at about the same time I am. Unfortunately, this morning it is sort of birds and wet grass, but we will try to find you something a bit bigger. We also are interactive, so you can ask us questions about this vast and wonderful wilderness that we call home, and you can do that by emailing us on questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. I don't know, Jandre, I still feel like I've got a lucky bone in me this morning and we're going to find a cat. Jandre doesn't look so convinced. Oh no, now he's nodding. Off our eastern boundary, we're now about to turn onto the southern boundary, and we shall be heading west at a rate of knots. Not quite as fast as we would go if there were wild dogs around, but definitely a little bit quicker than normal. I know James and Co have checked, and Scott and Jamie have checked this area already, so we don't want to dabble too much in an area that's already been checked, and we're going to head further to the west. Maybe we'll run away from the cloud and pop out in the sun in the west, because blue skies in front of us, but we are being stalked by grey skies behind us. One slight benefit, although we're not able to see the tracks, as I said, a lot of the very territorial animals will be out scent marking after the rain, as their scent marks would have been washed away. And also, lion and leopard don't particularly like walking through wet grass, so hopefully they'll be deciding to use the roads and walk right into us. Nyala hopping across the road. So all fluffy, still quite cold. Guys, just bear with me for a second. I'm having an issue with my earpiece. So I'm just going to try fiddle with a few things here quickly before we move on. Okay, let's give it a try now. Spots of rain. We're going to try outrun it. Try one little trick here. There we go. I've got a spare one here. I'm just going to try the spare earpiece. I'm just going to get you in a spot where Jean-Ray can show you a pretty picture so you don't have to see me fiddling with equipment. I'm back. That wasn't too much stress. Thankfully, had a spare in the vehicle with us. Okay, so we're still on our way to the west. I'm going to go see what happens in Arathusa. So we've been chatting about the rain and what effects it's having, and Chris Morrigan is wondering, does this affect our ability to find animals? It does. It makes tracking a lot more difficult, especially if we're in the vehicle and not on foot. And as you can see, the road becomes very, very compacted. Jean-Ray is about to give us a wipe, guys, so you're just going to listen. So there we go. What happens, Chris, is that firstly it really compacts the earth, especially about that amount of rain. So a light animal, say like a leopard, you will barely see the tracks, and you might find them where he's crossed a particularly soft piece of mud or something like that, but to follow them through the bush like we have been during these dry season months will be much more difficult now. Not to say impossible, we just have to work a little bit harder. still on the subject of rain, Andrew from Portland, who's a huge viewer, watches every night. Well, welcome Andrew, again, to the sunrise. Sorry. Andrew would like to know, do lions and leopards take shelter during the rain? What is that there? Do they take shelter during the rain? Well, it depends. If they're nice and full, they will sort of curl up and avoid the rain. But if they're hungry, they will take that rain and wind and utilize it to their advantage, and they will actively hunt then. Getting close enough that I'm going to be able to switch over radio channels from the northern channel, which operates on Djuma, to the western channel, which operates on Arathusa, and see if we've got any updates for Arathusa. Mobile stations, Brent from WildEarth. Is there an update for Safari and Nyala, please? Thought we heard something there to the left. Maybe a bit too far to hear me yet, so let's wait till we get over the crest and just try again with the radio. We head across to Arathusa. Dave from Washington DC says James mentioned last night that he was going to get someone to check on the vulture's nest to see if they had a chick. Well, Dave, I'm not sure which vulture's nest we're referring to. There's a vulture's nest that we have spent quite a bit of time, or I have spent quite a bit of time at, that does have a chick at the moment, and we can definitely go swing past there to see if there's anything. Just going to try and get comms with the Arathusa guys first. Mobile stations, Brent from WildEarth. Can I have an update for Safari and Nyala, please? Standing by. Copy, thanks very much. No updates from viewers. Karuma's are north. As far as I know, the Birmingham's are east, Torchwood and Coral side somewhere. And nothing so far for Wheelteller this morning. So, I heard about an animal. Not one we would normally go out of our way to look for, but on such morning, we will take what we can get. So there's a report of a few buffalo bulls around the Arathusa driveway. So off we go to look at some buffalo bulls. They're probably going to be quite nice and muddy, rolling around after the rain. So hopefully we can find a young Madiba stalking them while we wait with the buffalo bulls. Arathusa in an age. So as we are coming through the change of season, and we've had a few species like the Wahlberg's eagles are back. Georgian from Illinois is wondering when the woodlands kingfishers will come back. Well, I'm guessing quite soon, probably between the 10th and the 20th of September, we might start hearing our first ones. And that'll be wonderful. So we are now entering Arathusa. We're going to have another quick look at this vista, and we can really see miles and miles today. Morning. How are you guys doing? Not too bad. But cold.
Crazy.
I thought summer was here. I'm not used to this. I forgot my gloves this morning. Oh, anything for your side now?
We've got some airshare and one on the kill and Anderson on the kill at Shirley's. But nothing on Gala.
Yeah.
We're looking steam.
Yeah, last I heard they were, Birmingham's were around in Coral yesterday, but no one's found any tracks or anything this morning.
Also the breakaways and the Majingas are far west.
Apparently the two Matimbas chased Majingis on Londos.
Really?
Yeah, but I haven't had confirmation yet, so I'll wait to find out.
Guys are quiet in the group.
Yeah. Yes, guys, enjoy your drive. Sorry about that, guys. Morning meeting with one of the guys from Elephant Plans, and letting us know. For those of you who heard, so there's Salaheshe, which is a female leopard I haven't seen, who's got a cub. She's got a kill out of our Travis area, and the Anderson male's also got a kill out of our Travis area. So that sort of leaves Shadow and Madiba, so hopefully they just decide to walk onto the road in front of us. Also, I've heard reports that the Matimba male lions are way down south on Londolozi and Mala, and they chased the Majinga lions. So, I'm not sure how many Majinga lions were there, but I know some people are starting to think that the Matimbas are extending their territory into that area. I wouldn't say so. I would say they're avoiding the Birminghams, and the Birminghams have pretty much taken the Matimba male lion's territory. And it'll be very interesting to see that maybe if they chased one or two Majinga lions, it'll be a very different story if all four came together. As I said, I think the Matimbas are between a rock and a hard place at the moment. Because if they go any further south from where they are at the moment, there's another big coalition of young males down there. So it'll be very interesting to see whether they head east into the Kruger or they try head west further into Majingaland territory. Oh, there we go. We have some buffalo bulls. Be quite happy after the rain. A retired gentleman broken away from the breeding herds now that they can't compete for mating rights with the females, and so they spend their times around water holes and drainage lines where they don't have to move too far between feeding and water. Oh, and some oxpeckers. Red-billed oxpecker. We do occasionally see yellow-billed oxpecker. They're a lot more rare in this area. Always an itchy ear. And you often see buffalo bulls do that. They'll hook their horn and under the branch and use it to scratch behind their ears, where they do collect a lot of ticks. So it can be quite frustrating. As you can see, he seems like he's really enjoying that scratch. So, I'm sure just trying to get rid of all those ticks behind his ears and behind his horns. And obviously he doesn't have fingers like us, and not able to pick or scratch at it, so he's got to make another plan. Even though buffalo are ruminants, they are bulk grazers, so not as fussy as a wildebeest. And what happens is the selective grazers need animals like bulk grazers because they keep the grass short and make it easier for them to select the species they would like to eat. And obviously not so apparent in a small group of buffalo bulls like this, but when you've got 800 to 1,000 buffalo marching through an area and grazing that grass really short, it's very good for your other grazers that come after and will be able to selectively feed. Morning. Good, thanks. How's everything your side? There's nothing there. No, lions are all in the north and we've got no leopard on property at the moment. Cheers. Enjoy it. Oh, so let's leave these old boys, and I don't know, I'm feeling lucky. I've got a sneaky suspicion. I think I know where Shadow and Madiba might be hiding. So let's go look in that area. Guys, I'm going to have to apologize in advance as we are crossing the Arathusa airstrip. They are busy upgrading it at the moment to be able to, so those of you who want to come on safari will be able to fly straight into Nelspruit and then straight into Arathusa on a nice big tar runway. So we are going to try move away from a construction site as fast as possible. On the left we have the world's largest caterpillar. No, I'm only playing, it's just a piece of caterpillar machinery. Looks like it's a broken piece of caterpillar machinery that has been taken apart and someone's trying to fix it. It's a dissected caterpillar. We're going to start heading. I think it's possible. There's two sort of options, I think, from where Shadow and Madiba were last seen to where they possibly are now. So I've heard the Anderson male is to the south there on a kill, and I think Shadow will try avoid him while Madiba is with her. So I think it might be worth our while checking further to the west. But we might take a swing past the Arathusa Dam, see what's happening there. See if the hippos, I think the hippos will be quite chilly. It is very chilly this morning and it's taking a while to warm up. So, Raisa from Finland, who's a really regular viewer and an avid birder, has asked, they think it's got a picture of a square-tailed drongo on the Juma Dam cam, and just wondering if it's possible that the square-tailed drongo occurs here. And if we have a look, so we see the fork-tailed drongo regularly, that's this one here, and the square-tailed drongo is here. It is possible, Raisa, but it is quite unlikely. So they do occur quite close to here. I have seen them in the Sabi Sands, but unfortunately they prefer sort of forests and riparian woodlands, so very big mature river woodlands and forests, and generally a much wetter area than we are. Not to say it isn't possible, but it is slightly more improbable. And if you have a look, you see how their distribution here vies away from the area we are, slightly up towards the edge of the mountains, the Drakensberg, where there's a lot more water and a lot more sort of big trees and forests. There we go. I think we are being stalked by this. Another sounds like large caterpillar. We're definitely going to have to get out of here. I think we'll lose, even though our cars are very tough. I think we might lose this battle with what is approaching us. Actually, I know we'll lose that battle. No, we're going to win. They kindly moved off the road for us. Here, carrying a water pipe to make sure the new airstrip doesn't flood. Come on, farm! Been chatting a little bit about lions and the Matimba males, how they've moved down south to avoid the Birminghams. And Janet from Massachusetts would like to know, would they take new lions into their coalition at this stage of their life? Unfortunately, I don't think so, Janet. I think those bonds are too tight and they are quite old. There's no real reason for a young male lion to join two old male lions like that. And they're at the end of their career, and the other lions will be at the beginning of their sort of dominant space. So there's no reason for a young male lion. It doesn't make any sense to his survival being under pressure with two old boys. So unfortunately not. I don't think they were going to take any more lions into their coalition. About to approach the Arathusa waterhole now, sneaking onto the dam wall. What have we there? We have two very different birds on top of dead trees. Sneak up to this one first. Oh, isn't that perfect little pose there? And you can see, once we zoom in, and you see as the head turns, very distinct little crest sticking out the back, and a small aquila eagle or true eagle. And so that little crest out the back is one of the diagnostic identifying features. And I wonder who can tell me what bird this is. And there are recent arrivals from their travels during our winter season, and they are going to nest here while they're here as well. And a lovely bird of prey. And so you can guess or tell me what bird that is, and you can send your answers through to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. And now if we swing to the left, please, Jean-Andre. Very different bird. A very different bird. Turns his head there now. We'll see a very distinct beak shape and a very noisy bird. So if you guys hear those clicks, that's just me taking a few photographs. And the one on the left there is a Hadada ibis. Very noisy bird. Okay, and we're going to pop onto the dam now, see what else is around, and I'm hoping I gave you quite a few clues about that little eagle we saw there. It is the smallest of the true eagles, or quilla eagles, and as I said, it's a recent arrival as the summer months draw closer. Up on the top of the Arathusa dam wall, and there are some hippopotami over there. We can see some red-breasted swallows and lesser striped swallows. There we go, you can just see them flashing through the screen every now and then. The hippos will be hoping that a bit of grass grows so they don't have to move so far to feed. So guys, I'm just listening to the radio quickly, seeing if there's any more updates. Okay, doesn't look like it, and the hippos are just going to wallow there. I'm hoping, I think the last time I heard of Shadow and Madiba being seen was behind us there. I'm hoping they've moved further west. So guys, it looks like everyone's a bit slow this morning. The answers to the bird or the raptor quiz so far have been a brown snake eagle and a long-crested eagle. I'm afraid neither of those are correct, and those are both resident species that do not migrate. So the big clue there was this guy's just arrived in the last couple of weeks. Bit of sunshine, finally. Looks like we outran the clouds. no tracks so far, but we will keep checking. Shadow does like this area quite a bit, towards here, towards Red Dam, back towards Impala Plains. On the first on Twitter was Simon, and the first on email was Mike. Well done, guys. You got that bird answer correct. It was, what was that little raptor? It was a Wahlberg's eagle. And lots of other people did get it right as well, but those were the first two. Oh, and in the road we have a giraffe. Always have a quick look around to see if there's others when there's a single female giraffe. What you looking at? So I know you guys saw the perfect example of this with Scott. Sometimes when a giraffe starts staring intently into the grass, there's a possible leopard or lion or cheetah there. But quite often when they stare like that, they're staring at another giraffe. So move forward a little bit so you can see her face. She goes. Let's try and get behind her. I think she might stop and feed again shortly. Such a lovely morning light. Hello, Geraldine. Here we go. She does seem to be interested in something off to the east there. She was looking there when we arrived. Keep an eye on it. No, nothing too serious. She's not that interested in whatever it might be. So unfortunately, we're not going to go follow her off the road here after this type of rain. We'll probably want the sun to just dry out the ground a little bit before we decide to go off-roading too much. You can just see her head through that bush there. Looks like she's trying to decide which way to go. And giraffes have a very, very good eyesight. And obviously with that long neck, that helps as well. able to see down and into the surrounding bush. Looking back to the east again. You just see those. And she moves off with fork-tailed drongos in tow. Yep, there that one goes. Well, enjoy a nice fresh morning. So I think we should stick to our original plan, guys. If we don't get any luck with leopard tracks or anything around here, we're going to go back to the hyena den, see if any of the hyenas have moved now that the sun's up a bit and it's a bit warmer. Might be quite a bit of activity there. But the wonderful thing about thinking you have a plan in the bush is it can change in 30 seconds. One track, one alarm call, and off you dashing after some other fantastical sighting. I would actually say, just looking at the roads and the water holes here, I'd say Arathusa actually had more rain than we did just across at Djuma, and that happens quite often. I mean, you can see these pans are really full, and these pans haven't a nice sort of area of a runoff or anything, so that's just from the rain around this little area. So I think this side seems to have had a bit more water, a bit more rain than the Djuma side. Hyena den, we are approaching that vulture's nest. It's not too far down the road here. And this sky is becoming a really, really blue and almost very clean blue. And I think it's going to be a nice warm day. And hopefully we hope our works is magic and get Wendy operational so we can have 2 vehicles out again on the sunset safari. I'm sure by the end of this you guys are going to be very tired of listening to me drone on. Vulture's nest is just up ahead here. We're going to cross a drainage line at the moment. in shortly, so we might experience a little bit of signal breakup, but we'll be through it as soon as possible. Unfortunately, this area where the vulture's nest is also a little bit bad for our radio com, so just bear with me for a few seconds while we get through this drainage line, and we might have a little bit of signal breakup. Through the drainage line, that should be all good now. So we've arrived at the vulture's nest, and it's a very bedraggled, cold-looking adult vulture there. We will move now. Just want to have a quick look. We'll move to the other side where we can actually get a better view of the nest. And isn't that fascinating? There's red-billed buffalo weavers who are making a nest below the vulture's nest. It's either them using the base of the vulture's nest as a nest, or they might be stealing what the vulture's nest is made out of, the thorns and that. But I mean, it makes sense to, they've already got a nice stick platform to start building on, and to have a vulture as a neighbor who poses you no threat could be quite beneficial. I think the main reason is because the vulture's made a platform. It's nothing to do with safety for them. Trying to get the water out of her ear, and they will add on to that platform because it is a very safe spot from snakes, the top end of that very thorny tree. But we're going to move now. We're going to pop underneath the nest and go to the other side where we can have got views of the baby before. Bombs falling while driving under that nest, so I always make sure the cameraman's on the left, so if it does happen, it'll miss me. Okay, let's turn the vehicle now, and I can just see the chick's head popping up there, it looks like. You can see there's a little white blob almost off the edge of the tail. That looks to be the youngster there. It will still be white and fluffy. Probably doing exactly the same as the adult, catching some morning sun, trying to dry out. Probably both be quite hungry. And obviously vultures who use thermals and whatnot to go find their food would have had a bit of a tough time of it during the rain. I don't think they're going to see too much movement in the nest this sunrise safari. I think everyone's just going to be keeping as still as possible, trying to dry out. The sun's just gone behind a slight cloud, but it will be out again. There we go, shake off some of that water. Well, we'll leave the vulture family to dry out, and we're going to go ahead towards the hyena clan and see if they've dried out a little bit more, and if some of the adults have come to join that little bundle of joy we were with first thing this morning. Was so thirsty that a lot of this water has gone straight down, and we're not actually getting too much mud and slippery. There was a little bit yesterday when we were out in tracking team, but that was very fresh after the rain. First spider hunting wasp of the season, unfortunately just zoomed across. A spider hunting wasp, these huge purple glossy wasps that hunt spiders and caterpillars and other things, and they almost sound like mini helicopters when they fly on that. And you don't want to be stung by them. They can be very big. Definitely try to show you some as the season progresses and more of them are out and about. Oh, sunshine, yay, sunshine. Another question from Frederick from Springs in Gauteng in South Africa. Frederick, I would like to know, what is the maximum speed of a black mamba, and how high can it reach when it stands up? Well, Frederick, we'll start with the height question. It completely depends on how big the mamba is, but it can raise about 2/3 of its body up off the ground. So if it's a 3-meter mamba, it can raise 2 meters of the 3 meters. And black mamba are said to be very fast, but they're actually deceptively fast because of the way they move. So if I remember correctly, I might be 100% on this. I will double check it though. A man should easily be able to outrun a black mamba. The perception of them being so fast is because of their raised body, because they throw their body forward, So it looks like they're going a lot faster than they are, because you must remember the speed is actually from here, not from where the head is. So the speed's moving from here and he's going like that. So they look a lot faster than they are. But it is, a man should be able to outrun a black mamba, and it's under 30 kilometers an hour, that's for sure. Probably I'd say probably around the 20s, but I will double check that for you, Frederick. In my box of tricks. What I'm excited for with a bit more rain is the frogs and the flowers. Let me just get this out here. Heading slowly back towards the east, towards Juma. Frederick, I'm just trying to find this black mamba for you here. There we go. We've got a picture of a black mamba here. They can get very, very big. And you can see, here we go. And they are not black, as you would think with a name like an animal of black mamba. It should be if you have a look at this photo up here. You can see the shape of the head on these two pictures. They're said to have a coffin-shaped head and also a permanent smile. But I'm hoping there is a picture on the other page. No, there isn't. So the inside of a black mamba's mouth is actually jet black, and that is where they get their name from. I'm just trying to see if there's any speed on them here. Doesn't look like it. But I know they seem to be faster than they are, and they can grow very large. I've seen one of 4 meters, so very, very big snake. Okay, there's the black mamba. If I remember correctly, it is around 20 to 25 kilometers an hour. I don't think much faster than that. Sun, warm me up. Doesn't seem to be working this morning. Still got my jacket on, but the sun has dissipated a lot of the clouds. It is looking like it's going to be a glorious afternoon and sunset safari. that. How clear is the moon even during the daylight here? You got it there, Chandra? So it's an almost perfect half moon at the moment, and it can be seen quite clearly even this late in the morning with that wonderful clear sky we've got at the moment. Sure, isn't that incredible? You can almost see the craters on it. I don't think with the normal dust and whatnot around, we'd never see it that clearly during the day. Very nice. Slowly heading back towards Juma from Arathusa. It seems like it's as quiet here as it was there. Right in the far west of Arathusa. I was hoping that possibly with Anderson being in the sort of northeast of Arathusa, that Shadow and Madiba would have moved into this northwestern sector, but no tracks as of yet, or no reports or sign of them. Big one. Just gonna do a little gander past Red Dam. We have found Shadow and Madiba in that area quite a few times before, so worth going to have a squiz. We've got a little surprise for you, and it's probably not the surprise you're expecting. So we're going to cross across to Jamie, who's going to give you a quick update on what they've been up to this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the sunrise safari. We're entering in a little bit later than expected. Little Wendy is still down with starting problems, and poor Brent has been out and about all on his own. So we set out to go tracking, and then Scott had the brilliant idea of utilizing our walking backpack. And as you can see, the sun came out beautifully, the rain is gone and past, and we've got our first shongololo, or millipede, of the season. How are you doing, buddy? So this is definitely the first one that I've seen. One of my favorite little things when I was a kid to pick up and play with, and watch the incredible movement of those legs. Moving almost in waves. These are members of the arthropod family, and are closely related to centipedes, so they've got paired jointed legs, segmented legs, In the case of the millipede, it's got 2 segments for each leg joined together, which creates this amazing wave-like movement. And although they are harmless individuals, they're herbivores and they feed on decaying plant matter, they are actually fairly noxious to eat. They'll definitely be poisonous to you or me, but something like a civet, this would be a perfect snack. And we'll start to see more and more pieces of exoskeleton in the civet trees that we find around the area. Off he goes on his mission. We're sitting out on quarantine clearings. And as we leave him to go about his summer business, it is time to go and see the termite mound that James found yesterday on his drive after the rain at least up. Let's head across to there. See the tremendous amount of fresh work that's been done. All of this has been built in less than 24 hours. All of the fresh mud that they've put up, fixing up their vents. And we're here a little bit here. It's still very, very cold. And there was the most incredible air coming out of it. Still got a couple of individuals still in there. There's a couple of soldier termites in there. It's a combination of soldiers and workers. The soldiers are the ones with the very large, scary-looking mandibles or jaws. The workers are the smaller ones. You can barely see their mandibles. Slightly lighter in color than those soldiers. And those big mandibles will be the termites' first line of defense if something does come to try and feed on their mound. And they're still working away. I think as it gets a little bit hotter, which it will do, it's getting hot very fast, they're going to start moving down into the depths. But they are rebuilding their vent system for the coming summer. As we're watching them add to their incredible termite mound structure, Maggie M from Australia wants to know what they build it out of. And it's a combination of dirt that they've pulled up from under the ground and combined and impacted with their saliva, which makes a very glue-like substance. So those will be the workers that will add to this bit. And then the soldiers also have a sort of a glue, tarry-like substance that they secrete from between their mandibles. But that's just a way of adding an extra attack element to their defense mechanisms.
Sorry, Jamie, I'm just going to try and get the right angle here. It might be better if I shine.
Go for it.
Oh, it's not easy business, this. There's a fly in my ear, James, if you don't mind trying to buzz it away. Thank you.
It's right in the ear.
Okay, well, I think we've Got as much as we can get from the tots, Jamie. Oh, well, those are going to be good.
My shadow out of the way.
So it's difficult for Jamie now because she obviously can't see what I'm filming. It's Scott on camera, James is on backpack. So it's a 3-man unit today, the walking outfit. And this is a soldier. You can see his massive mandibles that would inflict a very painful bite if he was to latch onto you. Oh, there's another one, awesome. And that one looks like a worker. Oh, I've gone off it. So now you can see the difference between the two. The worker's mandibles, I've lost them now. Oh, there they both are. Oh, nearly as big. Quite far from the entrances and exits to the main burrow system, so maybe they're foraging for some supplies for the renovations that are being done here. You can see that's where we were filming earlier, the excavation or the holes into the main chimney all the way up there. Beautiful. And just to give you a bit of an idea of what the scenery is like around here, we in the sense of the quarantine clearings. James, you mustn't move. There's our trusty vehicle that's been getting us from A to B. And here you can see James striking quite a very serious pose. And there's the antenna. And
very serious business.
And I don't know if we can see the back of the backpack. There we go, there's all the equipment. Another strip hose.
That's very intimidating.
And something that you often like to have a look at is the fireside chat spot, which is actually just up over here. So we're essentially standing behind it. There are the logs where we perch ourselves. Behind the fireside chat. Good. Well, we are told that Brent is ready to receive you, so we are going to say goodbye and
it's been fun.
Yeah, and try and find something else interesting to show you guys a little bit later.
Cool.
Goodbye from the pack mule.
Welcome back, and wasn't that a nice little cameo around the termite mound from James and Jamie, the J&J. We are still on Arathusa. We are heading back towards that hyena den, see if there's been any activity there while we're gone. Hopefully, I'm hoping some of the adults have come back and are enjoying the sunshine with that little bundle of joy. So we're about to cross, we're probably about 100 meters from the border. Unfortunately, no sign of Shadow and Madiba, and quite sure they're probably sitting happy with a kill somewhere in one of these blocks, and obviously it'd be very difficult to find tracks of them if they're not moving around. I'm just going to be on the game drive, just letting the guys from the western sectors know that I'm leaving and heading back towards Juma. Stations crossing back to the north. Thank you very much. Stations crossing from Arathusa back to Vietela, and I have any updates for Vietela, please? Nothing on Safari, but there's Anderson Mail on Shirley's with a kill, and Salahesha and Montan with a kill on Elephant Plains. Those are the only updates. I'm going to be doing the same. I'm still quite far out on Impala Road at the moment. So, Craig is also heading towards the hyena den. So if there is no action, he can let us know and we can go see what else we can find. Oh, and we're getting a little bit of slipping and sliding. But we've got a wildebeest bull looking at us through the terminalias, or silver cluster leaves. And as I said, we started doing a bit of slipping and sliding as we came onto this road. And I did mention at the beginning of this sunrise safari, we were going to chat a little bit about seep lines, especially now that they've rained, and some of these seep lines are going to start becoming a bit active, especially if we have a little bit more rain. And animals like wildebeest really like these areas because the bulk grazers keep it short, and you see the short grass all around, and they're able to pick and choose what food they like in between. So these are what you call a duplex soils. And just go back a little bit. You might move out onto the Impala Plains themselves. And what a duplex soil is, it's a very important soil type. And so obviously we have lots of sand, quite sandy soils here, and we have lots of quite clay, very clayey soils here down towards the drainage lines. So let's see if this will be pops out. I'm just going to stand by here and I'll tell you a little bit more about the soils. And it's a perfect spot to do the soils because we're having a look. We're on an obvious seep line here, and you can tell that from the trees. So silver cluster leaves, they like sandy soils, and you find them on these seep lines. And as he stopped now, so a duplex soil, what it is, it's sand on clay. So what happens is that water drains quite quickly through the sandy section. The sandy section is not normally too deep, excuse me, and it hits the clay base. Now, what that does is it keeps the water table high, because as the water hits the clay, clay is not as permeable as sand. Obviously, it doesn't just run through it. And so what that does is keeps that water table high. So you've got really nice grasses and stuff that grow on there. And also, it runs down towards the drainage line to where the clay will come out. So it's the natural movement of water under the ground. And what this does is keep the grasses and whatnot in this area very nice and fresh. And so you do find a lot of animals on them. And a really, really important parts of the bush in terms of animals to feed and from grass species and grass species diversity. So you can find quite a lot of different animals feeding in these areas. And he doesn't look like he's playing ball. He's changed his direction. He's having a scratch. Let's just move forward. So on these duplex soils, you have to be quite careful because, as I said, sometimes the sand layer is not very deep. And if you crack through that sand layer and go into wet clay, we'll just sink. And we'll be very stuck. And we'll have to be very embarrassed and either call for help. And let's have a look, he's having a nice scratch. How's that? There, Jean-Jacques. Also trying to get the ticks behind his ears. We saw the buffalo do a very similar thing today, except he's really destroying his scratching post. And there he's actually rubbing his pre-orbital glands, his scent marking glands on there as well. So that poor little terminalia is serving dual purpose. One, as a good way to scratch the ticks, and also when we see him use that frontal part of his face, he's marking territory. Yes, you. Don't look so surprised. They are wonderfully strange looking creatures, wildebeest. And off he disappears into the thickets, and we're going to continue on. I've just heard from Craig, who arrived at the hyena den, and unfortunately no action there at the moment. So I'm hoping as we move along these duplex soils, we might find some more of the grazing species out. So in areas where your bulk grazers, specifically buffalo and rhino and elephants, have been removed, the water table in these areas actually suffers, and so does the quality of the grass in the bush, because what happens is these little terminalias, like we were looking at where the wildebeest was, have no elephants feeding on them or pushing them over, etc. So they tend to take over, and obviously trees suck up a lot of water, so it removes the water from the ground, and it creates sort of bush encroachment. So the bush will become quite thick, and you won't have these lovely open areas like we're driving through at the moment. So a lot of people see certain feeding types, especially with elephants, like it's damage to the bush. It's not. They're very important sort of gardeners in the bush, and they keep certain areas open, and like this area we're looking at here wouldn't be nearly as open if we removed elephants from the system, who would break down the terminalias and stop them encroaching on these duplex soils. These duplex soils are very important, especially during the wet season, because they will hold water a lot longer than the other soils, and so the grass quality will stay higher. So we've seen a lot of zebra, wildebeest, impala, and buffalo on these areas during the dry period. And we will also get concentrations of game now as it starts getting wetter, as the new grass sprouts up on these soils, so they'll be very nice and high in mineral content. So a very good area to look for animals. View of some old buffalo bulls this morning, or Duggar boys, and we have a question about them from Simone in Midrand, also in Gauteng. Seems like Joburg has been up early, or the general Johannesburg Gauteng area has been up early this morning and enjoying the Sunday safari. Simone said she was recently told by a guide that Duggar boys are actually buffalo bulls in their prime, and they don't move far because they are conserving their energy and condition for when the breeding herds come around. Simone, I'm afraid the guide who told you that was very confused. It is definitely the opposite. Duggar boys are older males, sort of probably 10 to 15 years old, and they have been pushed out of the big breeding herds by the younger males. And there's a lot of fierce competition and fighting that goes on in those breeding herds for mating rights. And once they get to that older age, that they sort of retire to these areas where there's a lot of water and grazing close by, because their condition is not capable of competing with the younger bulls in the herds. And those are sort of old gentlemen's cubs. Sometimes you will find young bulls with them, but the majority of them are those older bulls that are retired. And the younger bulls might move in and out, but the majority, as I said, are those older bulls who are past prime and have given up chasing of the ladies amongst the breeding herds, and are now sort of in retirement villages around the pans and drainage lines. Just had that lovely view of that lone wildebeest bull, and Clay on Twitter, hi Clay, is wondering how do they defend themselves against lion and leopard. Well, Clay, most wildebeest, adult wildebeest fall well out of the realms of your average leopard, and not to say they won't take an adult wildebeest, but it's very, very unusual. They will take juveniles, and young baby wildebeests are actually quite a popular choice with leopards. And with lions, well, all wildebeest fall within the lion's sphere of interest, so to speak, and how they defend themselves is by vigilance, is their best option. I have seen a wildebeest chase a female leopard before in a herd when she was trying to grab some youngsters, but that is unusual. But they can physically defend themselves like that, but mostly they'll rely on vigilance and speed to get away from predators. So an adult wildebeest bull, only two real predators out here, and it's lions and hyenas. Hyenas will use a very different tactic. They will wear them down, run them down with their incredible stamina, and sort of take chunks out of them as they do it, and they will slowly bleed to death and lose, or not bleed to death, they will lose strength from loss of blood, and once they are too tired, then the hyenas will descend. So we're going to go have a look on quarantine. I'm quite sure there's hopefully some general game out there. Oh, let's go, don't fly, stop. Sorry guys. A really, really nice bird of prey just zoomed past. I'm going to try and get a view of it. It looked like it landed somewhere on Aubrey's Road. A little Gabba goshawk. And it looked like it had something in its talons. I'm just going to check carefully here. It might have flown through, but I did think it. There we go. Okay, top left of this marula. I'll have a closer look now. Unfortunately, in the shade there. But you can see those predatory talons there. So the reason I knew it was a Gabar goshawk, when it flies, they've got a very obvious white rump. And it doesn't look like it's got anything in its talons at the moment. I was very lucky he didn't keep flying, so it did look like he was going to land. He's very hungry this morning, and he's searching for lizards, rodents, and these little goshawks are actually incredible hunters of other birds. I mean, they will take Franklin, which is about the same size as them. So he's sitting there a little bit below the top of the canopy, so it gives him a little bit of shelter and protection from other birds and animals viewing. So it doesn't look like he's going to move, but a nice little interlude. So we're going to cross back to the Jams and Jamie to see what they've been up to.
Welcome back, everyone. And look at how cool this tiny little skink is. I'm not too sure of exactly what type of skink it is. The name Sandoval's skink comes to mind, but I could be way off. It's tiny and probably fully grown, only as long as my forefinger. So it's not the biggest of lizards. But the great thing about the camera we're using is it's got this punch zoom, and we are getting you some great close-up views of it. Look at it looking straight at us now. And it understandably is thoroughly enjoying this morning sunshine after almost 48 hours of cold, rainy, overcast weather. The reptiles, which are all cold-blooded, are basking in the sunshine, regaining strength and energy.
And we've got some really cool little spiders here as well. Have a look here, Scott.
Oh, no ways, Jamie. It looks like some jumping spiders.
And they're also enjoying the sun.
So we're going to take you away from the lizard, who's perched in a broken down marula tree. And this gives you a perspective of just how small it is. And now, I just push one button here. There we go. Sorry about that. And I'm going to try my best to get you close-up views of these jumping spiders. There seem to be a few of them hopping around here.
There's at least 3. I think I saw a 4th as well.
Oh, out of focus. Come on, fix yourself, camera. There we go, look at that. Now, I'm going to try and stay on it for a while because you'll be amazed at how far they can jump from a sitting standstill. A sit still. And this one seems quite comfortable there for now, but keep an eye on it. You're going to be amazed at how far they can spring. That wasn't the best example. But isn't it wonderful how many tiny critters are about, and that's why we are really trying our best to get this walking camera up and running. There, he's showing off a bit better now. Because there are so many interesting things to look at that are difficult for us to show you from the vehicle.
It's actually really amazing to watch how far they can hop. And there's also something else that I've just spotted.
Where's that, Jamie?
Continuing our conversation on the subject of the millipede. we've got a little bit of an exoskeleton here.
Oh, nice.
We're talking about looking for...
It's incredible how if you just sit in one spot for a long enough period of time, you can find interesting artifacts that you would naturally just overlook. Sorry about the shaky performance here, but we're trying our best. My shadow is getting in the way.
You can actually see the rings and the segments of the body.
And like Jamie said earlier, there are not many animals that will feed on millipedes because they are toxic, but the civet is one animal that can feed on them, as well as scorpions feed on them a lot. And this is often the remains you see outside of a scorpion's burrow, the exoskeleton of these millipedes. You don't get any white millipedes here, so the black pigment that you see in most living centipedes is faded from all the sunshine, and these white rings are all that's left. Wonderful. Well, I think it is for us to say goodbye, so we'll start with Jane.
Well, bye guys. We'll see you this afternoon for the sunset safari. Thank you for joining us for our little short bushwalk links.
And this is Scott on camera, and my team partner / donkey, James.
Hello and goodbye. See you later.
Oh, no ways. Look, we've got a visitor.
How horrific.
Look who it is. The mighty team of Brent and Gendray. It's nice for a lot of you to get the perspective of the vehicles, because you often only see the view from them, but not of them.
Especially Gendray.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is take this opportunity to give you guys a closer look of Gendray. There he is. He's got a beautiful big smile.
Use the punch zoom to get and see if we can spot his nose hair.
For some reason I'm not... Gendray. There he is. He's got a beautiful big smile.
Use the punch zoom to get and see if we can spot his nose hair.
For some reason I'm not focusing. So lucky Gendray camel has meant that I'm not in front of you. Anyway guys, I'm going to have you just off over there. So, thanks very much, and hope you enjoyed the small critters we found for you here. I'll give you one last view of this lizard, who's still perched in the same place. There we go. And we will see you all on the next adventure.
Oh, on this one again.
We're not sure who's live at the moment, but if we are, there's the strangest herd of animals we've seen all day. It's actually the largest group of animals we've seen all day. It has been quite quiet out there. And as you can see, they like to play in the dirt. So hopefully we can see some of their natural behavior. So there we go. There's some natural behavior. They're rubbing. It's very strange animals. Sometimes we find them rolling in mud. And there we go. We can see some aloe grooming going on as they now pick the nits and different ectoparasites from Scott.
Of which there are lots.
Yes, it looks like Scott is the dominant male out of this little group. As you can see, he's made James, who's much smaller than him, carry the heavy backpack. So definitely Scott is the dominant. And they're definitely both trying to impress Jamie. So we'll see what happens here. So on a little bit of a funny note, guys, thanks very much for joining us on this. Right, James has fallen over. As you can see how heavy the backpack is. There we go. He's managed to survive, and we will let them meander off back to find some food.
Bye bye everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.
So very interesting animal behavior we saw there. Some really interesting allo grooming, affirming the social bonds in that little group. But guys, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for all your questions, and we will see you on the sunset safari for hopefully another entertaining drive.